What's good everyone, it's Zigzag here, and welcome back to another Geoguessr video. And it's always been fun for me to imagine what is the hardest possible Geoguessr location. Well, fortunately for us, once in a blue moon, the Geoguessr developers release maps which contain the 150 hardest locations from each game mode in the champion division, which is the highest division. So we'll start with moving, then we'll go to no moving, and then we'll go to NMPZ. And I imagine those ones are going to be really difficult because the average score is 6,000 only. But we're going to start with the moving locations, and I feel like on moving, the worst scores normally come on really big countries. Whereas in NMPZ, even small countries can cause you to go the opposite side of the world. This is interesting though. How can this be a hard location? It literally says Chandigarh right there, which is a big city and actually state within India. So I mean, shout outs to Dust2, who's from Chandigarh. We should be in like Shimla here, or like around there, maybe a bit further into the mountains. But to me, this is like, honestly, a really easy location. I don't understand how people in the Champions Division could miss this on moving. I think it's quite a famous city. Like if I know that, then you know that that is kind of a strange location to be on here. This is more like it. I expected a bunch of Russia. We've got the short antenna with the B style. Okay, we're in the Urals here. I thought this is probably out in like Yekaterinburg, something like that. Yeka probably makes the most sense to me here. We have to be kind of in the hills, so maybe towards the city of Yeka. I feel like we're there. And to be honest, Yekaterinburg is definitely the type of oblast I would expect to see a really low score. So I feel like it all checks out here. Yeah, it is actually just over there in Chelyabinsk, but obviously 4.2 on moving. It'd be a bit higher with the normal world map scoring, but yeah, that is pretty low. So even with a good guess, that one's kind of tough. I definitely think that one makes sense. This looks like southern Ecuador to me. We don't have the Google car here, but yeah, I feel like southern Ecuador on moving, it is definitely missable, especially if you don't check the Google car. This could also be like northern Peru or something, but I thought we were here. Oh, okay, that's actually southern Peru. So that does make sense to me that people have missed it here, because definitely had that vibe to me, but in hindsight, it's probably not quite tropical enough. We do also have some mud brick architecture here, less common in Ecuador. But yeah, without moving, that definitely looked like Ecuador, so 2,000 points is definitely no good. Next one here, I expected to see some Canada. We actually do have O'Connor Road here. Maybe this is the US. We have some really weird poles as well, so maybe that caused people to go a bit wrong. Ah, it's like a wooden pole combined with a metal pole. I think it's actually metal. That one is wooden though. I feel like this is actually North Dakota maybe. No, this is actually hard. I cannot figure out for certain which country of the two it is, but I think it is the US. Okay, it is actually over in Canada. I really thought with the rumble strips and everything that would not be Manitoba or Saskatchewan, but there you go. So yeah, again, not a fantastic score. And the final one here is Australia. This is a 2022 coverage, and I mean, it looks like South Africa. Honestly, like if you went this way and there's no bollards that way or something, I could definitely see a wrong guess, you know, occurring for that reason. Of course, I want to get as close as I can here. I would assume this is just on the main road here, but maybe it's further south. Yeah, it actually could be further south. Could it actually be another state? I don't think so. I think it looks really Western Australian, but yeah, maybe it's actually down towards Geraldton or something like that. Okay, it was Carnarvon, just on an off-road there. Yeah, it really makes sense to me. Had that kind of vibe. And we don't have too bad of a guess there. 19,000 points on no moving. But yeah, we had pretty much the type of rounds I expected to see, minus the India. What's the deal with that? If you have a theory, let me know. To me, even without the sound for Chandigarh, I feel like it was not that unachievable. Like we had Hindi and everything. Anyway, next one here, we're going to go on no moving, of course. Average score of 4.8k here. This is going to be very interesting, of course. Immediately, like Southeast Asian vegetation with these pines here. So probably like a coastal Thailand or like Indonesia. We do have the blue car here. So, oh, could this be Taiwan even? Maybe. We have cacti though. Interesting. So yeah, with these palms, I was really thinking that it was going to be in Southeast Asia, but we're driving right, which obviously eliminates the left-hand drive countries over there. And these cacti here, they actually make Southeast Asia all but impossible, in my opinion. So instead, I think we're in Brazil. Does that make sense? I think it can make sense. I think we're up in like coastal Ceará or Rio Grande do Norte. Now, if this happens to be the car driving on the wrong side of the road and we somehow have cacti in Thailand, I mean, that's just crazy. This could actually be Mexico. We can't really see the sun, but the cacti look more Brazilian to me. I think people may have gone wrong in that way. So yeah, I'm gonna go coastal Ceará here. And it was coastal southern Brazil. The cacti are very surprising, but now that I think of it, this region here is known for the cacti as well. So yeah, that is obviously the type of score you could definitely lose a duel on. Definitely a type of round where you need to know it, but I think those pines are more common in the south. and actually may not really be possible up here in hindsight. Okay, next one here. Southern Brazil again, I would say, just based on the vegetation. But it looks like we have the dark Google car here, so I'm thinking this might actually be Colombia or Peru. Sun seems to be to the south, so northern hemisphere in theory. A lot of eucalyptus here, a ton. So I'm guessing people accidentally guessed Australia. But yeah, with this kind of bridge here, it won't be Australia, at least I think. I mean, that mountain looks very Australian, to be fair. Like, could this actually be? I didn't think so. Is it a lot of eucalyptus? I mean, I think the fence is just wrong. Oh, we have this white bush here. This white type of bush definitely reminds me of Brazil. So now I'm actually thinking that the sun's kind of lying here, which is also kind of interesting. I'm thinking we're actually in southern Brazil instead of Colombia. I don't know. It could still be Peru, Colombia. The Google car is very dark. Wait, nah. I'm still gonna go Colombia. I think the Google car is too dark. But yeah, maybe it is Brazil somehow. Yeah, okay, it is just Colombia there. Good guess, good guess, good guess. Okay, next one here. Back in Colombia, I would say, maybe. Interesting bin here. What's up with that? We have like a little bit of the antenna here, but the antenna's kind of very strange. Maybe this is actually Chile. We have like white mushroom insulators here. We have mountains to our north. Okay. I think it looks like Chile, does it not? The vegetation would be more southern. We have a wooden pole. I mean, this location is definitely completely diabolical for sure. But yeah, I think it's actually Chile. I think so. Do we have beech trees here? I think these might be beech trees in the background, leading us to guess more in the south. Yeah, I think these are beech trees on the hill as well. I'm gonna say this is southern Chile, where you do sometimes get this car with the tiny antenna. Like, it's just kind of randomly occurring whenever you get the white car, I think, unless this somehow is just the Colombia car. But I don't really believe that. But then again, the white mushroom insulator is not common in the south of Chile, if I remember correctly. So now that's got me considering that we might be further north or in the wrong country. You know, I'm gonna go Puerto Montt instead. Let's guess. Okay, yeah. I don't think you really get that insulator south of Puerto Montt based on my own research, but I could be wrong about that. Anyway, a good score to be sure. That would be definitely a fun one to get on Jules. Next one here, the Google car looks dark, which is interesting because I thought this is the Philippines. We do have tracks, and the reason that it's dark is that even though we look like we're driving left-hand side of the road with the front of the Google car here, these are actually going to be not Philippines tracks, but Peruvian tracks. I now recognize them after looking a little bit more, and yeah, that one's also with the blue top. It definitely looks like it. West Mountains here and East Mountains, so we're kind of inside a valley that kind of runs north-south. So something like this, maybe, for example. That definitely can fit for a whole bunch of places up here, so that's not a concern to me at all. The copyright would also help. 2024. There's also a lot of 2024 between Tarapoto and Pucallpa, so yeah, I think we can just guess here. And okay, we were just a couple of valleys over there, so just 39 kilometers away. Doing well so far, but the Brazil at the start really hurt us. Okay, this immediately looked like California to me, but I feel like the Google car blur is a bit wrong here. I feel like this Google car blur would normally indicate that we were going to be in like South America to me, so let's have a look here. But no, I feel like the bumps here are American, so I feel like this is actually California. How far up, I'm not so sure. It kind of felt like more like the middle of the state to me, not too far south. The sun is to the south as well, so northern hemisphere. That checks out. Okay, I'm gonna go like middle California here, like south of San Jose. Okay, it was north of the bay instead of south of the bay, but yeah, we end up with 18K there. We did actually get the country every time, but with not the greatest score, but that was definitely fun. Now let's move on to what you're all here for, the NMPZ map. Surprisingly enough, it has a higher average score, but maybe just better people played it. Okay, let's see if we can manage. First one here, fascinating round. We got this white curb. That white curb immediately reminds me of Latin America. We're driving right-hand side of the road. We can see the front of the Google car. This to me is one of those weird highways in Brazil where they use all white road lines, or it does also kind of look like the Yucatan Peninsula. So can we get the sun here? The sun looks to be, actually the sun is not too useful to be fair. So we are in a 50-50 between Mexico and Brazil here in my opinion. Is there a Mexican road where they use all white road lines? There may actually be, just because the whole round looks more Mexican to me here. South-southeast road angle? I don't know, guys. Some of the cars in the distance, you can't actually make out what they are, but they look more like American to me, so yeah, I don't know. Wow, this is a true 50-50. Ultimately, I'm going Mexico. But I could definitely see Brazil here, and it is, after all. Paraíba there. Yeah, definitely have that kind of coastal, tropical vibe. And you get these very cheeky roads in Brazil where they do all white road lines. The way they marked them in black really reminded me of Mexico, but, and this is a big but, there is a few roads in Brazil, particularly the 101, where they do the white road lines and the concrete road like this. So really tough. I think I should have got that, but definitely difficult. This one here should be like a Colombia, Mexico 50-50. These trees off to the left really remind me of those two countries. So my first thought was Thailand, so I'm definitely not entirely sure. Sun seems kind of southern there, which does work for our theory. And we do have quite a lot of coconut palms as well. So now the question is, just which side do we want to go? We have a little palmetto here off to the side, so that reminds me more of Mexico. I'm thinking like a southern Quintana Roo. I'm thinking maybe like a Tabasco here could work nicely as well. Maybe like a coastal Oaxaca. I don't know. Could even be like over towards Colima as well. We do have some sugarcane here. Okay, that's pretty useful. I'm gonna say then we're southern Quintana Roo or around Jalapa. I don't know which is better. I don't know. I'm gonna stick to my guns on the Belizean border here. We'll see. Okay, and it was nice. I knew they grew some sugarcane around here with that rocky soil. It all checks out, but that's a very difficult round. I definitely think there's like multiple countries that are possible there. This to me just looks like Kenya off the bat. And we got the big blur, we got dark soil. Yes, it looks kind of temperate. I could see why people would go other places, but the big blur, especially with this house with the gate, yeah, it all just looks Kenyan, probably around Nairobi to me. Yeah, very good guess there. That one wasn't too hard. This one, though, is harder. We're in an industrial district of Russia. It's clearly quite northern here. We got like bushes. The antenna is like weirdly kind of tilted towards the right. Okay, so here's some possibilities to me. I think it could be Magadan. Just trying to remember what Google car they have in Magadan. I think it could be over towards Murmansk. I think Murmansk is a decent shout here with the dark soil, with this kind of northern looking vegetation and the factories and stuff. There should be other options as well, but those are the main ones coming to mind here. You know, I feel like this is actually Murmansk. It definitely looks like the stuff you get up there. I just wish it was a bit more rocky off to the side of the road, which is what you normally see there. Because I'm pretty sure it's one of these two, but I just don't know which, actually. Oh, well, I see a bunch of mining and industry, and I know there's a bunch of mining and industry in Murmansk, so I'm gonna try it. And it was actually here. Okay, this was outside of Novokuznetsk. And of course, NMPZ Russia, well, that's just to be expected that it will be on this map. But what was this, like, frame, actually? It was actually a normal antenna, just for some reason, the angle of it made it look like tilted. Yeah, I think it actually may have been like the wind blowing the antenna. I'm not even joking, because the next frame, it's just back to normal here. So really difficult. It did look Siberian with the dark soil, but yeah, the hills in the background, they didn't really feel familiar to me. Maybe this is quite a bad guess though, to be honest. We definitely didn't get many points. Okay, the next one here, this is interesting. It looks like northeastern Brazil. I mean, the question to me is like, what are people guessing wrong here? Brazil's like the easy guess. Mexico seems possible. Colombia would be pretty out of pocket. If this is Colombia, I would be highly surprised. And that's kind of the only three options to me here, unless I'm really missing a crazy Kenya or something like that. I mean, the dust off to the right here would mean we're driving left-hand side of the road, but you got to be kind of critical in these ones, because if you look down the road, it looks like people mostly drive on this side of the road anyway. This side maybe a bit less used. So I don't know. And just the vegetation in general, like, does it make sense for Kenya? I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, particularly the trees on the left here, they don't feel Kenyan to me. I can't lie. But maybe it is Mexico. That would be the bigger concern. The sun seems to be south, so that would be northern hemisphere. So I could start to believe in a Mexico here. I actually could. So yeah, I guess it's another one of these Mexico-Brazil 50-50s to me. Probably like Pernambuco, Paraíba again, or this time maybe like a Oaxaca, maybe like a really dry Jalisco or a really dry Veracruz or something like that. If I'm playing a duel here, I'm going Brazil though. So I'm gonna do that and see how wrong I am. Let's go Paraíba here. And yeah, it was actually Sinaloa, Mexico. Okay, I think given the fact that it was the theme of the map, that it's so hard, that I could actually go Mexico there, but I don't know. I wanted to follow my gut. My gut said Brazil here. I think the fence looks more Mexican, but the rest of the round definitely more Brazilian. And to add insult to injury, they definitely were on the left-hand side of the road there, so that is kind of tough. But yeah, we end up with 10,000 points on the first one there. Not too bad. I want to go for more here. This one is really interesting. We've got, again, NMPZ Russia. This time, again, we have the antenna. Seems like it's unblurred, but it is hard to say. We've got some trees. We're going northeasterly here. The car is driving to the northeast. This one's definitely tough. I'm kind of tempted to click the exact same spot as the last one, just because you do get some random coverage out there that looks like this. It does kind of remind me of like there, maybe the Ural Mountains, something like that. The climate's not very extreme here. It doesn't look like far southern Russia to me. It doesn't look like far northern Russia, so I feel like around this latitude would be my main guess. It could be Bratsk, I suppose, but yeah, I mean, we can't really see the antenna, so I guess it could be Bratsk as well over there. Could it be like Karelia or something? I think it does not look like Finland to me. So I would like to think not. I'm worried about South Russia in a way. I don't think I would go there, but you know, it just comes to my mind. The question is, do I want to go here or do I want to go Bratsk? Northeasterly angle. Could be like this road up here, but I don't recognize it, so I'm just gonna guess the same spot. And it was actually over here, my very first thought, but this was blurred antenna black car just off the main road. Nah, that's pretty gettable. That's pretty gettable, to be fair. Okay, moving on. Next one here is the US, but is it the West Coast or the East Coast? I think it's actually the West Coast, yeah. I feel like if people are getting this wrong, then it's probably almost certainly the West Coast. These trees are weird though. Yeah, I don't want to overthink this. I think this like vegetation, it's pretty wet climate, but it's also weird. So it may be like a Northern California on the coast instead of being even further north. I'm gonna go Crescent City here. Okay, really nice there. Yeah, got the right vibe there, so that's a good score. Next one, is that a Colombian pole top or is it a Mexican pole top would be the question. I think the standard guess here would be Colombia, so that leads me to think this is Mexico. Yeah, I think I would go Colombia here, just with the bananas. It could even be Ecuador in a way, but not so sure about that. Can I justify Mexico is the question, because it feels like every time I'm wrong, it's just Mexico. Sun does seem like it's to the south, so northern hemisphere. Okay, that's a start. We do have like this middle wire here, which is really interesting. I don't know, guys. I feel like the standard guess here is Colombia, and it makes me want to go Mexico really bad. But the truth is, I would just not go Mexico here. 2 seconds later. I'm gonna go Mexico purely because of the map. If this is right here in Colombia, where I would normally go, then I'm gonna be annoyed. But given the fact we have bananas, white soil, kinda sandy, but not rocky, that's really interesting. I would go Veracruz there. I would go Veracruz. And it was Veracruz. Okay, I would go Colombia there, but I think one of the things that helped me get Mexico was the orientation of this pole with the kind of insulated towards the middle, also the kind of central wire. I'm not sure how often you would get this kind of auxiliary wire on the pole in Colombia, but definitely a hard round for sure. I would not go there. Next one here, this is just fascinating. I don't even know the continent off the bat. We have like thick poles off to the left here. They almost look Brazilian. The round itself, I mean, it could even be Europe to me. Like, what is going on here? My first thought was Peru. It looks quite like Peru. But the pole, I believe the pole does not make sense for Peru, but it's really hard to get a good view of it, to be fair. What are they trying to grow off to the left here? I cannot tell what that crop is, but it's clearly some kind of a crop. The other problem is that the hills are kind of low here. Typically in Peru, the mountains are a bit taller, so that's also a concern. But I don't know, nothing better came to mind. I mean, like, it could theoretically be South Africa. It could theoretically be Brazil. It could be a bunch of places to me, but I think Peru made the most sense. What about Argentina? So the poles could make more sense for Arg. Maybe this pole up on the hill also looks Argentinian, but does the landscape look Argentinian? I didn't think so. But you know what? Peru's the standard guess here, so I'm actually gonna back myself and go Arg, I think. Am I? I can't even lie though, guys. Like, really inspecting this pole, it just looks Brazilian. So then I'm like, whoa, where would this be in Brazil? It doesn't make sense. I have to look at that pole after I've guessed. I've just got to go with what it looks like. Yeah, I'm gonna trust that that's actually an Argentinian pole, and I'm gonna go Argentina because the obvious answer here is Peru, and I guess therefore it can't be Peru. So I'm gonna go Catamarcan Hills here, and it was Colombia. Okay, that makes sense. What is going on with this pole? It is very strange. They've got something strapped to it. It no longer looks Brazilian now that you zoom in. Yeah. Honestly, super gettable. I don't even know why I didn't go towards Colombia here, because like there are lots of places in Colombia that look like this, but so few in like Brazil or Argentina. That would have been crazy if it was there. Definitely a gettable round in my opinion, and we lose our country streak. This one, immediately thought was Sri Lanka, but the trees off to the left look Latin American. Okay, therefore, we're in one of these ones again, guys. It's gonna be Colombia, or it's gonna be Mexico, it's gonna be Ecuador, whatever. One of those ones, Peru, whatever, something like that. Sun is to the south, northern hemisphere. I'm gonna say this is Mexico. People would go Colombia and it's Mexico. That is what I think happened here. And this time it's Colombia. Okay. I would go Colombia there. I guess that's a nice cope to have, but I think it's because of the angle of the sun this time, actually. The sun is clearly to the south, and people use that to go Mexico. I think that's why more people guess Mexico on this one, as opposed to the last one where the sun was not nearly as obvious. But yeah, definitely a tough round. Definitely could have been either country. Okay, 10K again. I think we're going to go in again here. Interesting buildings in the background here. At first they looked European, now they don't. Well, my first thought was actually Rwanda, but you would never get this kind of architecture in the foreground in Rwanda. We have bamboo. I think this is actually like a dry Colombia with bamboo and red brick in the background. Possibly Mexico, possibly Brazil. But it's that same kind of vegetation that we had like up here last time. Yeah, nice. Good stuff. Good start. Good start. Next one here, clearly Europe, right? If this is NA, that's actually bait. So why do people guess NA here? Because if we have a really low average score, clearly that's the problem. No, you know what? It's actually North America with Oh, is it? Clearly a lot of people went the wrong continent here. We can say that for sure. It's like a Europe versus NA 50-50. The reason that it's so hard is because we're facing towards the right. So you would normally expect to see the Google car here in North America. The road is particularly wide and particularly like bad quality in a way that you often see in some states of the US. I don't know. I would definitely guess Europe here if I was playing without knowing that this was a really tough location. But the road itself is very suspicious. I will say that. And after all, I think it should be NA. I think this is one of those rounds. I think it is. But then where's the Google car? That is the strange thing here for sure. Okay. And this one's got me all kinds of confused. I'm gonna trust my gut. I think it's Europe. I think it's Europe with a very North American looking road. The problem is trusting your gut is very unreliable on this map because we're talking about the champion division players here. Anyway, I'm going to go Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, Slovenia, Croatia. I am going to go here. Thank you. Okay, it was Bulgaria. One of the countries I mentioned, that's fine. Really hard, but honestly, I do understand the US guess there for sure. As you guys saw, I was really considering it. Okay, this is just here. I don't understand what's difficult about this one, to be honest. That was a fairly easy one. This is hard though. This is super familiar. This is a pineapple field, I believe. And you do get those a lot in Southeast Asia, for example, here in Thailand, here in Philippines, different places in Indonesia. We have like southern mountains here. Okay, these trees in the background, they look really Philippines to me. So I'm gonna say we're there. I'm gonna say if we're looking kind of northeast at mountains, that we're like here in the Philippines, I think it makes sense. Worried about Thailand, like in the center part of Thailand. Nice. Yeah, that is really difficult. Those fields are weird, to be sure. This immediately looked like South Africa to me. We don't get any Google car help here. What is that in the background? There's some very interesting looking buildings for sure. Sun is to the north. Okay, nice. So I was even considering it could be Europe, but that rules that out. And at this point, I'm thinking South Africa is the best option. Oh yeah, and the fence on the right here does look South African to me as well. Okay, we're cooking up a good score here, guys. Can we get this? Pine tree plantation? I mean, I don't think it's Australia, for example. I'm pretty sure it's not. But the thing is, we could still be like, towards Mbombela. Yeah, we could also be down towards Naberha as well. I didn't really think so, but honestly, it's hard to rule it out. It really is. We do have rubbish as well. Also nice for our South Africa idea. If we're wrong, then I guess it would be Brazil. The architecture, whatever we can see over here does kind of look Brazilian, but the rest of the round much more South African, I want to say. So yeah, I'm going to stick to the South Africa idea. I'm going to go up here, but I am worried about the South Coast. And it is the South Coast. Well, really, I mean, if it's this map, I should have gone South Coast because George makes a lot of sense here. This is a pine tree plantation, makes me want to go up north, but you do get that down to the south as well. So yeah, I mean, we narrowly miss out on the 20k here, I think 19.2. I mean, the Senegal was just easy, but the rest of the rounds were definitely challenging. Okay, that is it for the video. A nice little result there at the end, but definitely a tough map for sure. These locations were not messing around. Also, there is, I noticed on this map, 150 easiest locations for each of the maps. So if you want to see me try and get a high score on those, let me know. If this video does well, I probably will. But guys, thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. Till next time, and goodbye.